It's always been a huge battle since I got my first period. I used to faint in school from pain and dehydrations. And I used to have friends who were like, oh, why is it so bad for you? When I get my period, I just feel a bit hungry. And that's when they said, oh, wait, you have PCOS. We can see them in the scan. And you can't every time go and tell the director and producer, I don't know how to explain this to you, but I have really bad periods. Hi, this is Shruti Haasan for Brut. Something I got diagnosed with when I was 26. So it's something I've lived with for over 10 years now. I didn't actually realize because I also have something called endometriosis and dysmenorrhea. So I was already having like my whole bag of troubles, so to speak, to deal with on a monthly basis, including trying out different birth controls and then having like the side effects of that. And birth control not as a pregnancy preventive measure, but just to control pain, regularize periods. And so when I went in, it was just a regular ultrasound, which is part of checking my endometrial lining, really. And that's when they said, oh, wait, you have PCOS. We can see them in the scan. And my response was like, great. One more thing to add to this list of complications.
Periods. And it's not just the blood loss.
I have extreme bloating associated with PCOS, like severe water retention and bloating. I also, some months more than others, have the issue of hirsutism, which is like excessive hair growth. In parts we don't want hair, It makes my monthly cycles quite painful as well. I had to change my entire workout routine because PCOS-related weight gain was huge for me, like really huge, as well as making dietary changes and cutting out things like from my life, like alcohol and caffeine really helped. I am now for the past, I would say, over 7 years on medication, especially for PCOS. There isn't a cure for PCOS.
That time of the month, har mahine aa jata hai. Don't be insensitive.
I've never had a fun day since the day I started my period. It's always been a huge battle since I got my first period. It was always a huge battle because of the copious amounts of pain. I used to faint in school from pain and dehydration. And I used to have friends who were like, oh, why is it so bad for you? When I get my period, I just feel a bit hungry. And I'm like, I wish, because honestly, my journey through periods and menstruation has always been really, really challenging from my very first period. It's especially troublesome when I have to perform on stage or do a scene that requires a lot of strenuous physical work. And you can't every time go and tell the director and producer, I don't know how to explain this to you, but I have really bad periods. So it's been character building in the sense that you fight through the pain every month to get your basic date done. And I used to just pray that my shoots get cancelled on the first and second day of my period so I can just veg out and like zone out and go through the pain. Do you know what I mean? I don't know about other jobs, but I do know that it is very complicated in my line of work to be able to say, I'd like that period leave because it's just too many factors. When you're making a movie, it's lakhs or crores of rupees. It's 500 extras someday. It's other actors' dates. Mostly, I just grit my teeth and go through the storm, so to speak. A lot of women live through and with PCOS. A lot of women were like, my God, I've been suffering with all of this. Thank you for talking about it. But what was really sweet was I was on an apartment group and for the building that I live in. And a father on that group was like, oh, thank you for talking about this. My daughter suffers from PCOS and I'm so glad someone's talking about it. So that was really sweet. And it was also really nice to see a dad be supportive of something like that, because usually it's like this great divide between men and women, and not just in society, but in parenting as well. So I was really glad to see that it's being discussed.